pretty nice. We have our foundation program going on. So we have like 6 subjects, and all subjects are very nice. We learn together with all the departments. They divide us into 6 batches, 7 batches, and they like make us interact with each and every batch. I mean the department, each departments. So it's like we can interact with them, and it's very nice. And the campus is pretty small. It's not very appealing, but the paintings in the campus are really nice. They have done wall paintings, and it's very nice. And then they have like programs like every month, like twice a month. They have programs and DJs at night, and it's very nice.
DJs, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that happens once a month.
When they have like a function or something. We had it last Friday. It was for the general assembly, the student council thing they select. So they had a DJ at.
Okay, time to celebrate. Good time to celebrate. Trusha.
So like I came to Bangalore on the 1st of August, and we had a hostel registration and all. And we registered into the hostel, and we were all settling in. We had an orientation program. It was wonderful, the orientation program, and the director is amazing. She's an amazing orator. And we had a talent show, which was also quite good. And at first, I thought it was going to be like a normal annual function, like a school annual function. But the people over here are so talented. It literally blew my mind. After that, on the 8th, classes started, and they were so much more hectic than I expected it to be. Even though comparatively, I am so they divided us in different groups. Like I think that's the case with every NIFT. They divided us in different group, and my group has a very chilled out schedule, but still it is still 10 times more hectic than my normal daily life that I was used to living till date. Like there are so many assignments, but the thing is that I don't get sick of it because all of this is something that I've dreamed of doing ever since I was a child. So it's not tiring, it's quite fun. And as far as the campus is concerned, it's quite a small campus, but it is a very beautiful campus. It's like planted with a lot of trees, it has a lot of wall murals, and the hostels are quite good. And the view from I live on the top floor of the hostel, so the view is amazing. Whenever I need to chill out a bit, I always go sit in my balcony. So overall, till now, the experience is quite good.
Great. Asmita, how's NIFT Hyderabad?
It's okay. So like the same whole thing about us being divided into groups and everything, and somehow I am in the most rigorous group of all. Our group has 20 assignments per week, and I am sleeping 3 hours a night. And we have the craziest things. I'm making baskets and tissue boxes out of weaving paper, but it's really fun. It's like we're learning. Like I think that, oh, I've done the best idea. I've had the best idea ever, and then I go walk into class and someone's outdone it, and I'm like, I'm gonna do better next class. So it's nice. It's a competitive environment in the best way possible. Plus, we celebrate every event, be it Janmashtami, Ganesh Chaturthi, like the tiniest of events. It's a teacher's birthday, we're gonna celebrate it, and it's nice. The campus is pretty nice. It's like 8 or 9 acres, and it's nice. You can roam around, and it's set in a very nice place. Like it's set in like the modern Hyderabad. Like you have metro connectivity and everything. There's a mosquito problem, but that's manageable. And the hostels are pretty big. The rooms are really big, double sharing and everything. So it's a good experience considering it's, government hostels have a reputation of not treating the kids right. But I tell you, NIFT does justice to its name. It's a great college.
Brilliant. That's very, very encouraging to hear. Just to build up on what Trusha said, she said that this is what she's been dreaming of all her life, right? So since when did you know you want to get into fashion, and how long have you been working towards this goal?
I knew I wanted to get into fashion when I've actually always wanted to get into artistic field because I come from a family full of artists and designers. My grandmom, my mom, her side of the family, everybody, all of them hold degrees in fine arts, design, and stuff like that. So I always knew that I wanted to get into an artistic field, a creative field. But I realized that I wanted to get into fashion when I was in 6th grade. And ever since then, like my friend told me about NIFT, who's in NIFT Hyderabad right now. She told me about NIFT, and ever since then, I was like, I want to go to NIFT. I don't want to go anywhere else.
Okay.
So I started working on my fashion sketches, and at first I thought कि हाँ NIFT में जाने के लिए क्या करना है, बस थोड़े से fashion sketches बना लो, हो जाएगा. And then coaching started, and I was quite lost after that. But I have been dreaming of going to NIFT half my life.
All right. Nice. Sumriti, when did you know that you want to do fashion?
Actually, I was aiming for NID.
Mm-hmm.
And then due to a few document issues, I wasn't able to get into the second round. So, and then later on, I applied. They told me that I can actually do graphic designing as a part in NIFT. And then I joined. I wrote the exam for it, and then I got into it. And then when I joined here, I started liking fashion. I started watching people, and it was very fascinating. So I fell in love with fashion when I came here. And then yes.
Interesting. So this is a very interesting part where you said your initial intention was to do design, and then you happened to get a good rank here. Of course, you were prepared for both. So did you intentionally take both exams, or you just thought you'll give this a shot?
I just thought I can give this a shot. I intentionally took NID as my main thing, and I focused on it.
Okay. So would you recommend to others, right? There are quite a few students here who are from the other like class 11 and class 12. So would you recommend that they give both exams or just focus on what they want?
No, it's good to give both exams, because when you don't get into NIT, there's another central government college, which is NIFT, and you can actually have the really good scope if you choose fashion communication, if you want to pursue designing, because they teach a wide variety, like photography. They'll teach you space designing, they teach you graphic designing, and then you'll also learn a bit of fashion and fashion journaling. You can focus your career on both fashion designing, like a fashion illustrator, and then also a graphic design, so you'll have a lot of scope.
All right. Asmita, coming down to you. Now, so what about you? Since when did you realize that you want to prepare, and how did you go about that?
Right. So my entire experience is very, very similar to Samriti. Initial aim was NID, but then I wrote the NIFT exam because my mom was like, give it. And because like when I was a kid, I was very like, I want to become a fashion designer. And she's like, that was your dream, go ahead, write the exam. So I wrote the exam, and I mean, things turned out just how younger Asmita would have wanted them to. But so I wrote the exam, and my main focus was NID, but at the same time, like in DQ labs, we used to have NID and NIFT classes together on Sundays, right? Online classes. So sometimes like when the badges would like shuffle, so we used to attend the NIFT classes as well. So I just think that I got a broader exposure from that, because I was also, and I had a lot of friends who were aiming for NIFT. So I also used to see what they were studying, and I had like just interest. So I mean, I was preparing for NID. I got 557 here, but I couldn't make it to the second round. So I'm pretty happy to be here at NIFT. But my initial aim was to get into user experience design or graphics. So I've taken fashion communication here, which is a side path into graphic designing itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think fashion communication and communication design is pretty much very similar in all aspects, right?
Yes,
and yeah, and it's just that the application goes into a different area, but the general principles are the same. Hansini, what about you? What was your aspiration? What did you finally get into?
Yeah, so as far as I can remember, I've always been into fashion. I've loved fashion. But in between, I somehow got sidetracked because my mom wanted me to do engineering. So I started the coaching for that. And then in 12th, I started DQ coaching. And then my uncle also had studied from NIFT Hyderabad. He had done garment manufacturing technology, and at that time it was only available in Hyderabad. So I used to get a lot of information from him also, and he was also kind of like my inspiration.
All right. So yeah, so anyone, so Hansini, you joined DQ in class 12. Did anyone join in earlier? Trusha, when did you join?
I actually joined DQ 10 days before my NID entrance.
Okay. So very close to exam. Okay. What about you, Sumriti?
It was like 2 months, 2 to 3 months before NID exam.
Okay. And Asmita, when did you join DQ?
I joined DQ in 11th grade.
In 11th grade.
So I was there for a very long time, yeah.
Okay. So cool. So now we'll go into your preparation aspect of it. What you all did to prepare. Okay. So let's talk initially about the sketching, because that's something that all the kids put a lot of focus on. And so what did you do for the sketching? Let's start off with Trusha. Yeah. Tell me, Trusha.
My phone is acting up just a minute. Yeah. So for sketching, right?
Yeah.
So I have, like I said, I've always been into art. The first time I held art supplies was when I was 3 years old. So I've been drawing since I was 3. So I was like from the beginning I was natural at it, but then I stopped in between, and to regain like my abilities to sketch well, I started off with tracing drawings. Tracing helped me a lot into getting the details and all, and I kept tracing, and then from there on I moved to not tracing, and from there I kept building on it. So I guess like the only thing key to like bettering your sketching is like take baby steps. And it's like many people believe that tracing is like cheating, but it's not really. If that helps you better your skills at sketching, then do it.
Okay. Yeah. Does anyone else have a different approach?
I'd like to just add to that. For me, sketching was something that was just something I've been doing since I was like 6 or 7. I went to art classes and all of that. But I think the only thing which I'd like to recommend to DQ students is that when the teachers are teaching the basics, right, you do them. Like you do every part of the basics. You do the perspectives, you do the 1 point, the 2 point, and then you get your reviews from the teachers. Don't be afraid of a bad feedback. Like I was very afraid in the beginning, so I would just submit it and never tell the teacher that I want the feedback. But later I realized that I really need to get my feedback to understand what I'm doing wrong. And like we're all afraid of hearing criticism, right? But it was really nice the way the teachers explained it to us that what you did was wrong. So it took a little bit time, but then you need to listen to the teachers to understand where you need to get better. So I think that's my only recommendation, because the teachers know what's the best for you.
Absolutely. And I think you made a good point there, Smita, because actually what is very critical is the feedback that you get on your sketches, because you can do the sketches, but you don't know whether you're going right, you're going wrong, or where to improve. So, and that feedback is critical from someone who's been in the field. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thanks so much for that. Anyone else would like to add anything, or can we go on to the next aspect, which people are very fearful of, which is the general knowledge aspect? How did you guys prepare for general knowledge? If probably Hansini, if you can start off.
Yeah. So firstly, I started off with whatever was there in the DQ Labs website over there. I studied that thoroughly. And after that, I think 2 or 4 months before the NIFT exam, I started scrolling through internet. I started making my own notes for fashion, general knowledge, or whatever was going on, current affairs. And I also got a book for that.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I'm sorry, I was supposed to share Asmita's sketches. I'm going to do that right now. This is so Asmita, if you can just show us and take us through this. Yeah.
Right. So,
So
yeah.
what were these sketches?
So,
Yeah.
right. So we had these sketches are from my CAT exam. Like, if my CAT exam was online, so we had 3 questions, and every question had a lot of subparts. Like, you could choose. You had options. So now the first question was, you're having coffee with a friend. You need to sketch it in perspective in your backyard. Now, the one towards the rightmost one is that. Now, see, the thing is, I like the sketch and everything. This is based a lot of sketching, a lot of different techniques. But if you see that the perspective is off, I can notice it now, right? A little bit perspective is off, and now I was very surprised that they actually liked it so much. But so all these tiny things make up the final result, because now when you have time to practice, I really recommend you practice your perspective and everything, because it matters. Then the second sketch was stages of a half-eaten apple, like when you put it through like a very long time. This is a question which we practiced over and over again in DQ Labs. I remember practicing this question in different ways, a pineapple, a banana, and we've done this question. So I think attending the classes is so important. And the third question was creating a sustainable way to use fabrics wasted in fashion industry, like in the fashion industry. So I chose like in the sari industry, or like whatever is the old fabric, you can use it to make curtains, which are like, they come with clips, so you can change the color and they're unique, all of them. So these were the 3 sketches I made, and we had to write a write-up on the last sketch, the sketch, the curry one. You were supposed to name it and everything. So my theme I chose was like something based in India. So like, it's based in India. It's based on saris, and then the curry, the name is curry because like India is famous for it. So, what I think is that in the questions they give you creative freedom, you conceptualize more, think about the sketching less. And in the questions they give you like perspective based or something where they need to see skill. That's where you use most of your all your skill set which you've learned over the past 1 year, 2 years, months.
Cool. Very nice. Very interesting. Subrati, would you like to share your screen as well and show us some of your work?
Yes, sir. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Is the screen visible, sir?
Yes, it's visible. Go on.
So this was this thing, just as she did. It was the same things I have also done it.
Sumriti, 1 second. You're not very clear. Your mic is not very clear. Could you just speak in the mic?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, better.
So this one was an afternoon coffee with a friend. So I used the perspective drawing right here, and then I made a perspective right here, and then a trees, and then a coffee right here, which was like afternoon, and I named the title as it was around 3 p.m. So it sounds like it's an afternoon, so I named it as it was around 3 p.m. And then the next was the half-eaten apple. So I made it into like a grid thing, and made it into 4 boxes, like 4 scenes. This was the first, and then after day by day it gets rotten, and this is the last stage. And then here they asked me to like with the scrap pieces of clothing, you can create a new piece of cloth. An accessory or anything. So I actually made a bucket hat at home once. I saw these YouTubes and I did once. So I thought maybe denim, old denim. So I can use the old denim and make it into a bucket hat. And I did this, and I have elaborated it this thing, the process and how I did it and how the size I took this thing. So I used this, and this was my.
All right. Fantastic. Right. So the principles of what you learned, you'll have to actually apply So nothing goes to waste. Okay. Whatever work you do, your artwork, your sketching, the technical aspects like this, all these mentioned here, all that is very important. Okay, now going on to the general knowledge part of it. So go on with the general knowledge part. So does anyone have to add to what was said earlier about general knowledge? How you all prepared for it? So we spoke with Hansini. Anyone else has any comments on that?
The English literature, the grammar, it was quite difficult.
You'll need to speak in the mic.
Oh, am I audible, sir? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So actually, to me, the English literature part, which was like the meanings and the grammar, it was quite difficult. So I think it's better to focus more on English literature, and then history, and then fashion. These three were like asked more, and then mathematics was like few problem solvings they were asked. It was like a basic one, and I think English literature has to be focused more on.
All right. All right. Thank you. Asmita, what about you? What did you do for general knowledge?
So a year ago, we had another talk like this with another senior who got into IIT Guwahati. She told us to make notes for general knowledge, which is what I did. I made a lot of notes, like this big stack of notes, which I actually gave to a junior who's also aiming for NIFT. So I made a lot of notes. Other than that, for English, she's right. The English was really difficult. So I read a lot, So I think that helped with the fact that my English went pretty easily. And the math part is what I found difficult because I'm a science student. For me, math is integration, differentiation, and they asked questions of compound interest and stuff. So I was very confused, like, oh, I don't even remember this. So I think focus on the math part and go back to the basics when it comes to math. And yeah, general knowledge, just make notes or refer to Manorama and read the newspaper. Newspapers are important.
All right. It's a good tip, sir. Rusha, anything you need to add?
I actually, on the other hand, did not prepare for GK much because that it always scared me a lot. So I always, kept away from it. I actually did not prepare for GK at all. Up until like a day before my UCED exam, I went through every single slide of the general knowledge part in DQ in the learning section of DQ Labs. I went through all of them in one day. And because I have like really good memory, so if I read something once, I remember it for a very long time. I just went through the entire thing a day before. That was the only preparation I did for my GK.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Okay. So I'm guessing that did help you. If you got this right, it's definitely helped you in some way or the other.
But I don't recommend that other people do that. I would like to tell you, please do read your GK well in advance and don't do what I did like a day before the exam. Please don't do that. It's very destructive.
Okay. Right. What about the aptitude aspect? Is there any aspect that you would find interesting or anything different that you would want to add for the aptitude? When I talk about the aptitude, the mental ability and spatial ability, all of that.
So the only advice I have for the aptitude part is solve all the previous year question papers. You do that for every exam. Like I was mainly preparing for UC because my main goal was to get into IIT Bombay because my parents wanted me to go to IIT Bombay. And I would just keep solving the same question papers from UC, NID, NIFT over and over again of all the years. That was my preparation for aptitude, and it helped me a lot because once you keep doing the same questions again and again, you see like every single paper has a particular pattern of aptitude questions. And once you keep doing those questions again and again, you get used to the pattern. So it becomes much, much easier for you during the exam because once you look at the question, you just know that this is going to be the answer. This is how I get to the answer. It's like maths. as much as you solve, it becomes as easier for you to do it in the question paper.
Cool. Anyone else have anything to add?
Talking about NIFT, the mental ability part is not that difficult. You can solve it, but then what I did was 2 months before the exam, I got this book from Arihant, and it had all the previous year question paper with the theory of why it's like that and stuff like that. So I solved that for 2 months, and that helped me a lot. There were a lot of repeated questions also from past year question papers, honestly.
Okay, very interesting. Okay. Right. So we've covered for the aptitude part, the sketching, the creative ability and general ability. We finished speaking about the sketching aspect, the aptitude aspect, and the GK aspect. At this stage, I just want to open it up to the audience. If the audience wants to ask maybe 1 or 2 questions, we'll accommodate at this point of time. Does anyone have a question? Or what you could do is you could raise your hand and let me know you want to ask a question, and we'll moderate it at that time. Okay. Right. So moving on. So you all did take the CAT and GAT, the written test, and from there, when you moved on, once the results came and you qualified, what was that like? Were you all anxious? Were you all not anxious? Or you have no expectations? How was that like?
I kind of knew that I did well and I would get selected for the next round. And I had to prepare, and I already started preparing also for the next round. So it wasn't a big deal for me.
Okay. Okay.
For me, it was something like, because I was also preparing for NID, I was focused on the NID aspect of it. So I was anyways attending the classes and everything that were happening in DQ. So I was like, I'll just give this exam as the practice exam. But I never even made it to the NID second round. But yeah.
All right. All right.
I actually, when the first round results came out, I was quite happy. I did not expect it because I thought I had done really bad on my written. But I got in through the first round, and after that, I didn't really feel any anxiety or anything up until I was quite confident of my second round, because I know that the second round is where my strength lies. Making 3D models, that's where my strength lies. So I was not at all concerned about that. I took coaching with Takshashila for the second round. So it was an offline coaching. I used to go every day, and they used to like give us 2 hours, and they would give us a topic, and every day we would have to make one 3D model and show it, and they would check it exactly like how the evaluators in the second round checked it. They would like take the model, flip it over, shake it violently. If it falls, they would break it in front of us. It was very heartbreaking, but that happened.
Okay.
So I did not really feel much anxiety like in the middle between my second round and my first round. It was a very neutral stage for me.
All right. There's a question here from Krishna, who's asking, who is saying, was there no portfolio to be submitted? So Krishna will come down to the second, that's in round 2. So when the questions come for round 2, we'll handle that. But Ishita Sharma is asking, how did you all manage coaching and your 12th grade? How did you all balance that? And probably, Asmita, since you spent 2 months, 2 years on this.
Yeah. So I'll be very honest with you. 11th grade, I was attending all my classes regularly because I was interested in them. Like, this is what I would bunk my tuition to attend DQ Labs classes. But 11th grade was online, so we didn't have a lot of pressure from school anyways. And then I attended my classes and everything. But 12th grade is when I realized that, okay, I need to get on track. I need to study a lot for the exams. But because of the board pressure, I got sidetracked and I stopped studying for DQ or like in general for my entrances completely. and I was distracted. So I was constantly just studying for boards until 2 months before NID. I realized, I called my mom and I realized that I have not prepared. I am so scared, and I was crying. And she's just like, listen, if you get 80% in both, but get a good government college seat, you're going to be happy for the rest of your life. But if you get 90% in both and don't get a seat in a college, what are you going to do? So I think that's when I realized that you need to manage, you need to prioritize. My priorities was getting into my dream college, which was one of the 3 government colleges, IIT, NID, or NIFT. And so that's when I started to study very seriously. I used to manage 3 hours a day for, like I kept 3 hours a day for physics, chemistry, and math. And the other time in the day, I used to study for DQ, like sketch for like 6 hours, and the other time for GK and stuff. So I used to just sketch a lot. Like any free time, I used to sketch, perspective, anything.
All right. Yeah. So anyone else? How you all balanced, coaching and class 12?
Honestly, it was the same for me. Even I had to prioritize the study for NIFT because I had to get into that. I remember I also skipped on my preparatory exams and I sat and I studied. I mean, I won't recommend everyone to do that, but that is what I did. And it actually helped me a lot to get a good result.
All right. Right. So moving on. There are a few more questions. Can you recommend a book for general knowledge? Yeah, there's a question from Biasha. Can you recommend a book for general knowledge? I think one of you all mentioned Arihant.
Manorama and Arihant. These 2 are really good books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meenakshi is asking a question. How much time did you spend daily approximately on preparing and towards the beginning and towards the end?
Towards the beginning, I was just attending the DQ sessions and learning from that during the session itself so that I don't have to put in extra effort after the session too, and I can study for my boards and stuff. But then 2 months before, I fully concentrated on the NIFT entrance exam.
For me, like, I got serious about my preparations only in August of 21, like in my 12th, and that's when I started like doing previous year question papers, and then after that, I used to give like daily 1 to 2 hours initially, and then October hit, and I started studying for 20 hours a day. Because up until then, I had like 100% attendance in school, so I could miss school. I used to not attend school because I was on top of my school studies. So I used to study for like 20 hours a day with like half an hour break in between. It's not healthy, but I was like very anxious because I thought that I'm not doing enough for my preparations. So I like gave literally all of myself into my preparations, and I used to wake up at 7 in the morning and continuously keep studying till 4 in the morning.
Okay, that's very intensive.
It is.
Okay. So there's a question here from Ananya. If you all have got ranks in the top 100, why did you all not select NIFT Delhi or NIFT Mumbai? Okay. This is for the others who are in Hyderabad, Bangalore, or Chennai.
It was actually because I live in Chennai, so it was easier for me to go, like it was for the transportation.
All right. What about you, Trusha?
Well, I knew I wanted to do fashion communication, and fashion communication, that course particularly, is the best in Bangalore because the faculty in Bangalore is the best for fashion communication. That's why I chose Bangalore as my center.
All right. Asmita?
Right. So so I wanted initially Bangalore or Mumbai, but but I only wanted the fashion communication course. I didn't want to compromise on the course. And there was an issue with the counseling. I guess it was because of the very limited options. I didn't get a seat allotted until the fourth round itself. So in the fourth round, I got Hyderabad, and at that moment, I was very scared to lose the seat. So I froze my seat. So I chose Hyderabad. But if I didn't freeze my seat, I could have gotten Bangalore, which is what I initially wanted, because after the fourth round of counseling, between the fourth and fifth round, a lot of students dropped out because the NID result had come by that time. So there were seats available in Bangalore, but because I had chose to freeze my seat, I did not get NIFT Bangalore. But I think NIFT Hyderabad is equally as good. The fashion communication of NIFT Hyderabad is pretty famous too. So I don't regret my choice of freezing my seat at all.
Fantastic. Yeah. So, so overall, I think, interesting question, but what it means is that all of you all pretty much went by what you all wanted and selected, got that. So it's not, yeah. So Ananya, I hope your question has been answered. Yeah. So they've selected the colleges that they wanted and the specialization that they wanted. Yeah. Even though they would have probably got the other options as well. Right. So moving on to the next aspect, which is the preparation for round two. So how did you all manage, your preparation for round two? When did you all start, and how much effort you put on that? Okay, we can start with Asmita. You're on mute. Yeah.
So I used to attend DQ labs, the 3-hour, 4-hour sessions very regularly. Like I never missed it, no matter what. I used to go on vacations and take my stuff with me to attend. And again, I repeat the same thing. Don't be afraid of the feedback. The teachers might be harsh sometimes. They might tell you that you might think that you made the best model ever, and they might say that that's not functional at all. So don't be afraid of the feedback. You need to know how the people in the industry see it to realize what you need to do. And only when you know what the teachers think about your model is when you're going to get better at it. And I just used to make the models in class very regularly. I used to focus on that. And except that, I just did some more research on material studies, like where can I use different materials and stuff. And right before the NIFT exam, like I think a week before, I just started to like at home itself, like learn how to like tool paper in a certain way, or like the tiny things. I started to focus on those, like how to use tape in a different way, which helped me in the final exam, because like in the exam you have 2 hours. You need shortcuts. You need to know like the tiny details of how can I use tape in a certain way to make it like last longer. So yeah, just think, like learn about everything you're learning in a deeper way, like go beyond what's given on DQ and just keep on learning. Don't just think that what they teach you in class is enough. Do your own research.
All right. Right. Sumriti, how did you go about it?
Actually, I didn't prepare for the situation test, sir. It was actually, I thought I can do it on spot, and I went and I did it.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. But did you know what to expect, or you just went with a clear mind?
My friend was also writing the exam, so a day before she had the exam, and I asked her like what was the questions she got, and she was like explaining it to me, and I had a pretty good idea about what was there. And then the next day I went and I did my exam.
Okay, but did you ever work on creating your own materials or using materials in different ways?
No, I haven't tried any of that. I just went there and I did it online.
Fantastic. Okay. Hansini, what about you?
So I used to think that I could do model making on the spot. You give me a topic and I'll just make it, but that didn't work. And I realized that during the first session of the offline class we had in DQ Labs, it was a disaster. And after that, I started practicing models, and you grow with experience, right? So I became better and better. And I remember solving a lot of past year questions, which was very helpful because the footwear question that came during the test was something that I'd already done. So I didn't even have to think of anything. I just started making the models as soon as we got the materials.
Okay. Trusha, what about you? How did you go about your work?
So, like, main thing is that you need to have play with as many materials as you can. Like materials that you find mainly at home, because at the center they'll give you like a lot of basic materials like clay, paper, mesh and stuff like that. And just play with a lot of materials, figure out how they work, figure out how to put them together. And that's mainly what I did, just playing around with materials and knowing their basic properties. That's enough. I feel like that is enough for you to know what to do with them during the D-Day.
Okay. All right. Um, cool. I think Sumriti needs to leave. All right, she's in the hurry, she's got class. So Sumriti, thank you so much for taking the time out to come here and interact with our students. And we wish you all the best.
Yeah,
Okay.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that.
All right, you can get
Thank
it.
you, sir.
Right. So we've covered your preparation for round one, round two, and how you all went about it. Uh, the audience, if you'll have any more questions, you're most welcome to ask right now. Right. Anything else? Now, do you think there was anything else that contributed to your creativity? Like, was there anything that you all did all through your, younger days? Maybe craft making, maybe sketching, things like that, or probably even playing music or something like that. So, did any other aspect influence you to, which you think has helped you be who you are right now?
I
I
guess
think
like for me it was always there was an availability of craft products and paints and all in my house. And because my mom is a crafter, so I used to always keep playing with them, and that is what helped me like
I I think Krusha has some network issue. Ansari, would you like to take that?
yes, sir. So I've always I've always been sketching since I was young, like drawing stuff. I used to draw a lot of human figures, and I used to make dress them differently, like different kind of boots, different kind of frocks and stuff. I mean, and I think that's how I started developing my interest in fashion by watching certain programs also.
Okay. So that's been your journey. Um, Rasmita, you were more focused on design and then came here. So did you work towards becoming creative in any other way?
Yeah, I have an art account on Instagram. I used to post on that, and I got this idea that I want to sell stuff. So I started selling my handmade products and stuff, and I started making resin products. I started doing exhibitions. There's a very famous place in Bangalore called Church Street. I used to go there, set up an exhibition, sell my art, and I think that really motivated me to get into this field, I guess. And also the design hackathon we had in DQ Labs. So when we went for that, the competition was so much, the pressure was so much. Like in 2 days, you had to come up with an entire model, a functioning model, and well, we had a lot of fun doing that. But when we won the my team, we won the competition under the interior and architecture category. But when we won that, I think it was a confidence boost for me and my friends. We were all really excited because that's when we realized that if we really put our minds to something, we really got this. And I think since then, we've all been very motivated, and they're all in the top colleges as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I think that was a good. All right, that was a good thing that you'll also won the design hackathon, because that again is a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Um, yeah, but it's good to be in that competitive environment. Now, the other aspect that I'd like to touch upon is, did y'all did you all also take any entrance exams of private design schools before the NID or the NIFTs? Did you all do that?
I think I'd only taken IIED entrance exam, which was basically only sketching, painting and stuff.
Okay.
The illustration part of it.
All right. And did you kind of feel that taking that exam, or it would have helped you prepare better for this, or made you a little more comfortable?
It definitely helped me because my NID exam, I was very anxious for my NID exam because that was like the first entrance exam I'd ever be taking. And I didn't want it to be like that. So I thought of giving some more entrance exams before taking NID just to get the experience. And it was actually very helpful.
Okay. What about you, Asmita?
As for me, I wrote 7 entrance exams for private colleges because I was very underconfident, and I made it through all of them. Some of them were aptitude plus sketching, some of them were just sketching, some of them were portfolio and interviews. And I think all of them really help you prepare because you know that what can you expect in the final exam. So yeah, it's nice to write all these exams because they give you a big insight on what's coming in the final, in the end game. So.
Yeah. So would you recommend that the students here actually just take the other exams, at least just to get familiar with the, with the exam context?
I think they should write it for 2 reasons. First off, you need a backup. Second of all, you should really you need to go and write an exam. You need to get into that mode, and to get you that focus to write the final exam, you need to have some background where you've written 2 or 3 exams already. So I do recommend writing some of the more competitive exams like MIT and Symbiosis. These are like really competitive exams, so you should write them.
All right. I think Prusha is having some technical issues. She's still not able to join back. Right. So I think we are pretty much done. It's 6 o'clock. Okay. So I don't see any more questions coming in. Possibly the last aspect I would ask you all is about DQ Edge. How did you find DQ Edge as a platform with your preparation?
It was honestly very helpful because all the data, all the information was there in one place for you to view. You didn't have to go to different websites and search for anything. It was there in one place. And you could also track your progress.
Right. When you say track your progress, I mean, when you took the test, did you take that knowledge, elimination formula, all those things, or you just randomly marked those things?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
So when you take a mock test on DQH, you have the options of taking random or elimination or knowledge.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So
I did
that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And did you find that useful, or with your
definitely, sir. It was useful.
Okay. Asmita, what about you?
To be very honest, I wouldn't have made it without DQH. It's the only. I mean, if you just go through everything on DQH, you're good to go. Just do the extra research work for your own knowledge, because what if something comes outside the box? And we had these mock tests for NID and UC, like they're like real exam types. I gave those, like there was a test series, right? I think it still continues. That was very important. They gave you such a good insight on how the actual exam is going to be. So that was helpful. And I think there are so many exams. And something that mentor told me on DQ, like in one of my classes, was don't run behind the XP, run behind the knowledge you're getting. Because a lot of kids I knew, like my friends, they used to like have this XP goal and they used to retake the same quizzes to get the XP. Don't worry about the XP. Just focus on what you want to learn, and you do that.
Cool. Also, with respect to seeing the sketches of the other students, did that help you? Did that help you get ideas or generate your own forms. Yeah.
It created healthy competition. So you were like getting inspired that, oh, is that how, okay, like this is how the others are thinking. I need to level up my thinking. I need to level up my game. So you were really focused after you started like looking at others' work. And you can't really look at others' work until you submit yours. So, that really helps you to realize that how others think, how your peers are thinking, what can you expect in the exam, what your competition is going to be in the final exam.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Hansini, do you have any perspective on that?
So I lost connection between. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So when it comes to the sketching aspect on DQ Edge, it actually over there, once you upload your sketch, you can see the sketches of the other students who've done their sketches for the same question, right? So how did you go through that, and did that help you out in generating ideas?
Yeah. So first of all, when I used to think that my idea was very good, and then when I saw the other people's submission, then I'm like, okay. And then I thought of many ideas to make it better. Seeing the other submissions that were there, it definitely inspired me. And then another source of inspiration that I used to get for sketching was Pinterest. That also has helped me a lot.
Pinterest. Okay. That's interesting. Nishita would like to ask a question. Nishita, you can go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry for repeating the same question, but there are only 4 months left, and there's a lot of pressure from school as well. So, like every day, I just sit to study for both school as well as NIFT, and at the end of the day, I end up doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Can you like suggest a timetable of how to manage from now on? Maybe like when to wake up and when to sleep, or how to manage? I really don't get it.
I think having like a time to sleep, a time to wake up, you're making it so rigid for yourself, you'll not be able to concentrate at all. If anything, I think you should focus on hours. Like, okay, if you have 8 hours a day to study, you put, let's say, 4 hours for DQ labs and 4 hours for both preparation. Because see, you need to prioritize. Like I mentioned, if this is your dream college, then you really need to focus on this. And it's okay if you score less in your both. It's okay if you get a 60%, a 51%. You just need to pass. But when you have a good government college, you are going to not regret getting less marks in your both. Obviously, you need to prioritize, but you can't just let go of school, obviously. But yeah, rather than setting a set timetable, focus on like dividing the day into hours. How much can you study, and then dividing the hours into your subject.
I would
Alright.
like to say that if you're going to school on a regular basis, then focus on what's going on going on in the class, and then half of your work is done. And then you can come back home and do a little bit of revision for 1 or 2 hours, and then you can start focusing on the competitive exams that you have. And then when you get fed up of doing that, then you can again come back to the boards or take a break.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Nishita. Thanks you. Thanks for asking that question. Ishita Sharma is asking another question. How do you get out of a creative block? Where do you take inspiration from?
As I said, scrolling through Pinterest has helped me a lot to generate a lot of creative ideas. You just have to scroll through Pinterest. There's nothing else you need to do. Or listen to music also. Yeah.
Yeah, listening to music is what does it for me. I sketch a lot based on music. So like I listen to music, whatever comes to my mind, I draw that based on the song. Just visualize what you're thinking. That helps.
All right. And she has another question, another follow-up question. Where would you practice quantitative aptitude apart from DQH?
There was another website which so you had recommended. I forgot the name.
Yeah, then I used to practice on that. Sean sir had
It was for
recommended it to
UC.
me. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Brilliant, yeah, brilliant. I think it was brilliant. So I used to practice on Brilliant as well. So it was a good website. You got a lot of insights on like it was very it really helps for UC though. Like for NIFT, the quantitative analysis isn't that tough. If anything, I found the math tough, compound interest and everything. So focus on that more, and I think this part of it is sorted.
Okay. All right. I think it's been a great session, very inspiring. Hansini and Asmita, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us. Of course, Prusha Bose lost connection in between. She's messaged me just now. She was trying to sign back in, but she could not. And Sumruti, who had to go for her classes at about 5:45. So thanks to all of you all for taking the time out, meeting with our students and being part of this webinar. You've been truly inspirational to all of us. Thanks once again. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Best of luck to all of the future Niftians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
best of luck to all of you.
Absolutely. Okay. Take care. Bye. Bye.